Don't you know that you're a grown-up? No games, no puns. Not allowed if you're a grown-up.
Hey, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John. I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thank you for checking out this video and the channel. Ever since I did that collaboration with Friday Night Arcade a few months back, I've been really into recollecting some old kid stuff book and record sets. And recently I was able to come across this one that I don't remember having when I was a kid, but I have it now. Bugs Bunny's Space Carrot. I got so much positive reaction when I did the last kid stuff book and record tape that I definitely want to share some more of them with you. So I'm going to share this one with you in its entirety. Before I do, if this is your first time watching Gen X Grown Up, see a little bar that lifts, has that subscribe button in the corner. Give that a click, maybe enable those notifications. That way you can check out way more of our Gen X inspired stuff. All right, let's take a look at Bugs Bunny Space Carrot right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Bugs Bunny read-along book. Every time you hear this sound, it means it's time to turn the page in your storybook. Now, if you're ready, we'll start Bugs Bunny's Space Carrot. And remember to turn the page every time you hear the sound. Clink, clank, whackety bang. Bugs Bunny was working hard behind his barn. He sawed, he hammered, he pounded. There were signs all over the yard, warning people to stay away. Bugs's friend, Elmer Fudd, came along. He paid no attention to the signs. "Bugs!" he shouted. "Hey, Bugs! It's a real nice day. Let's go fishing." Bugs Bunny popped his head from behind the barn. "Fishing?" he laughed. "That's kid stuff. I'm doing something much more important." "More important than fishing?" asked Elmer. "You bet," said Bugs. "I'm getting ready for a super-type adventure, not for sissies." His friend sighed. "Now what are you up to?" Bugs grinned. "Come take a look." Elmer hurried behind the barn and stopped in surprise. "A rocket!" he gasped. "Right, Doc," said Bugs proudly. "You are now looking at Space Carrot 1. I'm getting ready to take off and explore the planets." "How did you get it?" Elmer asked. "With cereal box tops?" "Of course not," Bugs replied. "I made it all by myself out of tin cans and bed springs and cookie cutters and old bicycle parts and some pieces of used bubble gum." Elmer gazed up at the giant space carrot. "Pretty neat," he said, "but it'll never get off the ground. To fly a rocket, you need rocket fuel." Bugs grinned. "I made my own fuel. I mixed a big batch of peanut butter, spaghetti sauce, and hot mustard." Elmer walked away, shaking his head. "What a crazy rabbit. Are you sure you won't come fishing?" "No way," said Bugs. "I've got a very heavy date with a planet in outer space." After Elmer left, Bugs Bunny hurried into the house. He zipped himself quickly into his new jumpsuit. There was an empty goldfish bowl lying on the table. Bugs picked it up and plopped it over his head. "Now I look like a real spaceman," he said happily. Ready at last, Bugs climbed on Space Carrot 1. He closed the little hatch. He checked the fuel tank. He set his controls, climbed onto his space couch, and buckled his seatbelt. "All systems go," he said. "And now for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, Suddenly, Bugs rubbed his stomach and sat up straight. Oops, I forgot my quick energy meal, he said, unbuckling the belt and leaping up from the couch. T-minus snack and holding, the astronaut announced as he went to his supply closet and took out a package of dry powder. He squeezed some water on the powder, and right before his eyes, an appetizing treat took shape. Whoever packed these supplies is a genius, he thought as he ate. Feeling better, Bugs belted himself onto the couch again and resumed counting. At the count of 0, Bugs pushed the start button on the fuel tank. Zoom! Space Parrot 1 blasted into the sky, frightening 2 cows, 5 birds, a family of ducks, and a small chipmunk named Albert J. Pennywhistle. It's a liftoff, shouted Bugs Bunny. I'm on my way. Bugs was very excited. He took off his helmet to mop his face. Just then, the rocket wobbled. A heavy hammer fell from a shelf. It landed right on Bugs Bunny's head. Clunk! Poor Bugs was knocked senseless. The giant space carrot looped and swooped. It zipped and dipped. It whooshed and swooshed. At last, it started to come down in an open field. The field was right across the road from Bugs Bunny's barn. It was a construction area where a big new shopping center was being built. Bugs sat up groggily. He shook his head. He'd only been out for a few minutes, but he thought it was a lot longer. The astronaut staggered to a window and peeped outside. "We're coming down," he shouted happily. "We're coming down on a strange new planet." The rocket slid to a landing, and Bugs hopped out. He looked all around. As far as he could see, there was nothing but rocks and dirt. He didn't know that the land had all been dug up to prepare for the new shopping center. Bugs had a little flag with him. It was like the flag the astronauts had planted on the moon. Proudly, he stuck the flag in a mound of dirt. "I hereby name this planet Keratania," he announced. Carrying a camera and notepad, Bugs began to explore his strange new world. Wait till the folks back home hear about this, he thought, clicking his camera busily. Plonk! His foot kicked something metal. Bugs bent down and picked it up. "A soda can," he said. "Imagine that. The creatures on this planet drink soda, just like Earth people." A few moments later, he found an empty popcorn box. "They eat popcorn here too," he said. Bugs took out his pad. He began to jot down notes about his amazing discoveries. Then he heard a strange, scary sound. It was a little like a grumble and a little like a growl. Grumble, rumble, growl, clank. The scary sound came closer and closer. Bugs Bunny began to shiver and shake. Suddenly, 2 huge monsters appeared over the hill. The creatures looked to Bugs like ancient dinosaurs. They had great flapping jaws and the sharpest teeth he had ever seen. Bugs Bunny stared at them fearfully. Then he did the bravest thing he could think of. He turned and ran. space monsters, he shouted. Call the Pentagon! Call the FBI! Call the president! Bugs ran and ran. Just ahead, on a rocky ledge, he spied a telephone booth. He rushed into it and jiggled the hook. Long distance, he shouted. Long distance! Put me through to planet Earth, and hurry! Soon, he heard more strange noises. Another fierce monster was creeping over the ledge. This one had bulging eyes and a giant mouth. It was even scarier than the others. Bugs dropped the phone and raced back to the spaceship. All he wanted was to get home safe and sound. In a panic, he jumped on board. Quickly, he pushed the start button. Sputter, sputter, sput. Oh no, he gasped. I'm out of fuel. The tank is empty. What do I do now? Bugs could hear the space monsters rumbling and growling outside. They were getting very close. Suddenly, he spied a big bottle of carrot juice on the shelf. He grabbed it and poured the carrot juice into the empty tank. Then he pushed the button again and... whoosh! The carrot juice worked! The rocket zoomed high into the sky, twisting and twirling. Whew! That was a close one, Bugs gasped. Space Carrot 1 came down at last, and Bugs Bunny found himself right back in his very own yard. He climbed out wearily, glad to be home. Just then, Elmer Fudd came into the yard. Elmer was carrying a little flag. Bugs stared in surprise. It was the very same flag he had planted on the distant planet of Carrotania. Where did you get that? He asked Elmer. I found it just across the road, Elmer said, where they're building the new shopping center. The shopping center? Slowly, the truth dawned on poor Bugs Bunny. He hadn't found a new planet. He'd been just across the road all the time. How was your space trip? Elmer asked. Bugs felt very foolish. I can't talk about that, he said. It's, top secret. 10 minutes later, the two friends were at the riverbank, fishing happily. Elmer was puzzled. I thought you didn't like fishing, he said. You told me this was kid stuff. Bugs Bunny had learned his lesson. He smiled peacefully. Doc, don't knock it, he said. For a busy astronaut like me, a little kid stuff can be very relaxing.
Like so many of these other Gen X era book and records that I love, and I've collected more and more of them, by the way. If you want to see more, be sure you stick around. It just emanates kind of the innocence of that era. I will say that the Bugs Bunny in this book is not the Bugs Bunny that I've come to kind of know and love. He's kind of a buffoon in this one, and typically Bugs Bunny is the one who kind of knows where it's at, and he kind of takes other people for a ride. In this case, he's the one that really didn't have his act together, although he was able to fly a spaceship on carrot juice, so that's something, even if it just takes off and lands in the dump. I really hope you enjoyed this. Be sure you stick around to Gen X Grown Up for much more, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Gen X Grown Up is dedicated to bringing you new Generation X-inspired videos every week. Here are a couple more you can watch right now, but for even more, subscribe and enable those notifications. And if you love what we do, we invite you to support us over on Patreon. And of course, your feedback in the comments and a quick thumbs up are always appreciated.